sun never rests. When silence screams, we listen. This is dead and wrong.
Hello, I'm Liz,
And I'm Sam.
and this is Dead and Wrong, your weekly podcast for all things dead. People, animals, ghosts, you name it. If it's dead, we are going to cover it.
And for today's episode, we are finally back to where we belong? Oh, in the Midwest. Really? That's where we belong? Okay.
Yes, you belong. Come back. Indeed, we are. So, remember how in the last episode, Sam, you had mentioned that our lovely listeners might get lucky and that I would cover the Vicky Kosh case?
Oh, we're covering the case? Or you're covering the case? I'm listening.
Covering the case. Indeed, I am. It's actually funny because I was going through my list of cases and this was actually on my list. Anyways, so I just decided to go ahead and cover it. For those of you who are listening and may not fully remember, Gina Renee Hall was killed by a man named Stephen Epperly, and he was actually one of the suspects in Vicky Kosh's case. So we will be discussing her case and the different suspects that are being considered for her killer, as this is still an unsolved case.
I thought they connected him to the case, like he was the killer.
It's still unsolved.
Oh, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, let's start this pony up. Dead and Wrong presents episode 19, The Unsolved Case or Murder of Vicky Kosh.
So, as I stated, this is not only unsolved, it's still actually active. When cold cases are still considered active, not all of the details are released. Certain details really of any criminal case will stay private until the case is solved. Like, prime example, my office still has a few cold cases, and I've seen the public information that they've put out, and there is 100% missing information. But that makes sense. Too much information released on a case can actually end up causing major trouble for the investigators and potentially derail the case.
Because don't they need, like, if somebody comes in with information, they need to make sure it matches to what they already know.
Mm-hmm. And how many times have we seen it where information gets put out and then all of a sudden someone wants to be involved? So they're like, oh, I saw this, like the Harris family murders. Remember the neighbor claimed that she saw the van going back and forth?
Oh, the lady in the window?
Mm-hmm. And she didn't.
Yeah.
So this case has the potential to be updated later on. So what I have been able to learn regarding this case while still being active is that the Circleville police are still trying to retest DNA and other pieces of evidence.
Crap, that was in Circleville?
Circleville, Ohio.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I did clinicals there.
Someone was potentially murdered there.
Wow.
The police do have a long list of suspects, and this includes at least one serial killer. Though I'll get there. I have personally mentioned an extra serial killer because this one that I found was also active during the time of her disappearance and murder. For this episode, I will potentially be putting up polls on Facebook and X at the end because I kind of want to hear who everybody else believes is the killer. I think that would be neat.
What if nobody responds and we're all alone in the vast universe of our podcast?
We know Trish will respond, and I'll make my mom and sister respond. I will get on their Facebook and respond. So there's the potential that this episode will be on the shorter side. But don't worry, because episode 20 and 21 are bigger cases, and they're going to be a little bit longer for you. So let's get on to the actual details of the case. So Vicky Kosh was born on February 1st, 1955, to Eugene Ernest Koch and Luella, I like that name, Helen Koch in Sandusky, Ohio. She had an older brother named Randy, and at the time of her murder, she was the godmother of her niece, Randy's own daughter. Vicky was a Circleville elementary school teacher. She was considered to have been an excellent musician and was known for her skills with the flute. Randy had been quoted often before talking about just how talented she was. On Sunday, August 10th, 1980, 25-year-old Vicky Kosh attended a concert in Ross County, Ohio with some of her friends. While there, everything was completely normal. They didn't have any weird encounters. It didn't seem like anybody was following them. There were no fight or arguments between the friends, no fight or arguments between random strangers, nothing. It was truly just a fun time amongst friends, and at the end, they all went their separate ways to their respective homes. Since the school season hadn't started yet, Vicky's only plan for the week was to head up to Sandusky on Thursday the 14th for a long weekend to spend with her family before the new school year started. I have plenty of teachers in my family, and let me tell you, they are very busy during the school year. Like, school ends at like 3. And sometimes my mom wouldn't get home till 5 because she had so much work she had to do still at the school. So that was her plan. And the thing about Vicky was that she was the punctual type. She set plans and stuck to them and was always on time. So when Thursday the 14th came and noon passed and Vicky had still not shown up home, her family started to worry. She's like, okay, this definitely is not like Vicky. So her family called the Circleville Police Department and asked them if they could check up on her and make sure she was okay. As I'm sure you noticed, Sam, Circleville's not very big.
It's not. It's tiny.
No. So from what I gathered, the police kind of knew who she was. They're like, oh, like Vicky, the school teacher. Yeah, she teaches some of our kids. Like, yeah, we'll go check on her.
Yeah.
So her family provides Vicky's address and then they wait for a call back. So the police went and the apartment door was locked. There were no signs of forced entry or any damage to windows or doors. They were able to eventually get in. They contacted the apartment manager and he let them in. And Vicky wasn't there, and neither was her car. Well, after finishing their check and obviously not finding anything, the police relayed this information to Vicky's family. And for them, this raised so many red flags. Like, she's not there, her car's not there, but she's not here, and she's supposed to be here. So Vicky's family decides to not let any time go by, and they basically end the family vacation and head to her apartment in Circleville. Again, nothing weird besides the fact that Vicky wasn't there. So friends and other family members join the same day and begin looking, and they look everywhere. They look in dumpsters, they walk down rural roads, they look in different cornfields. Basically anywhere and everywhere that they could have looked, they looked. Didn't find anything. Now, the next day, on Friday the 15th, they find her car. And it's odd because her car was found 5 blocks away from her residence. It was parked and it was unoccupied. And just like her residence, there was no signs of forced entry, no signs of a struggle, and no signs of any kind of altercation. It was just there.
That's really weird because the town's small enough that if they were searching, they would have found the car if it was only 5 blocks from her house.
Which tells you it wasn't there at one point.
Yeah, it was placed afterwards.
So for about a month, no one was able to locate any kind of evidence or any kind of lead that could even like point them in a general direction to go. Then September 17th hits. A farmer in Madison County, Jim Slagla, was mowing his ditch line when he noticed something odd in his field. Farmers care a lot about their field. I get it. So he goes over to see what it is, wondering if like maybe it's a dead animal he needs to remove. And he locates a nearly completely skeletalized body. So this body is already almost completely skeletalized.
She's been out there for a month?
Potentially.
In September?
August, because it would have been hot.
So
August
hot
through September.
All the rains.
Animals.
Coyotes.
Vultures.
Dang. That poor girl.
Yeah. The local sheriff's office was called and the body was taken to the Madison County morgue. The doctor used dental records to attempt to identify the body, and they discovered that it was 25-year-old Vicky Kosh, the Circleville teacher that had been missing. After a full evaluation of her body, the doctor labeled her cause of death as death due to violence. And this ruling came from 2 details. The first one was that her body was too far along in decomposition. So her soft tissue was no longer present, and therefore they couldn't pinpoint exactly what happened, because they stated that a lot of times your soft tissue is kind of what gives away exactly, because you would be able to see that, like, if your body was cut.
Damaged.
Mm-hmm.
damage?
So there was the second point was that there was damage to her skeleton that they knew could not have been made by like an animal, natural causes, or suicide. And so they knew it was some kind of trauma. They knew trauma killed her, but they couldn't pinpoint what it was.
What kind of trauma could cause that? Like a knife or?
My guess is, they probably didn't go into detail because it probably maybe like broke, like it could have been like blunt force and could have broke some of it. But all they would see was like a chunk of the bone missing. So they couldn't say exactly what caused the blunt force.
Okay.
And I did note that part of the reason why they actually claimed that her death was due to violence was that this allowed them to make her manner of death homicide. And because it's a homicide, the state can keep it open as an active murder investigation.
Good job for them.
So I'm pretty sure still today, but I know for a fact that as of 2019, the Circleville Police Department are actually actively investigating this case, especially with like new DNA technology coming out. They're still actively trying to figure out what happened. Now, before we get into the suspects, I just wanted to point out some odd things. So Vicky was definitely not found in the county that she lived in. In fact, the field where she was found was exactly 33 miles from her apartment. There were, they didn't say exactly what the condition of it, but there were either pieces or strands of the clothes that she had been wearing still around the body. They were the clothes she'd worn to the concert.
She was found still in her clothes.
Yes. So that meant that when she left the concert, depending on what time she left the concert, she would have either been taken late Sunday or early morning.
Do they even know if she made it to the concert?
Yeah, her friends were with her. Her friends said they all went, they all had a good time, they didn't notice anything strange, and then everybody left and went their separate ways.
This is why you carpool.
Yes. No matter what, you make sure everyone gets home. And the last two people, you spend the night together.
We just make sure everybody texts, I'm home.
No, we geostalk each other to make sure we know we got home. Get it right.
I check your location.
Geostalk. I think geostalk her daughter too. It's the best thing. She'll never get away with it. So because of this, like the distance and everything, the police have always kind of helped but wonder, like, why did whoever took her, why did they take her so far away? Like, it's not too often that they take them like an hour, like up to an hour away to dump their body.
Yeah, you don't have to go very far over there to find somewhere basically that's abandoned or...
Yeah, you can find any cornfield.
Yeah.
Ohio, land of cornfields. So as I have mentioned multiple times, because that this is an active case, this is really all the information regarding her and her disappearance that the Circleville police have put out, minus the suspects. But now we get to the fun part. We get to discuss who the potential killers were. Sam, I was thinking that we could basically discuss the potential each one has and then who we personally think it was and what we think happened. So I'll go over all the killers and then you and I will discuss that.
Okay, sounds good.
So we are going to start off with the man that actually brought us to this case and who's connected to both Vicky and Gina Hall, Stephen Stupid Epperly. So part of the reason why Epperly is connected to Vicky is that he moved to Columbus and then only 5 days later, Vicky went missing. And obviously it's like, okay, he moved there. What does that have to do anything? A lot of the two cases of Vicky and Gina line up. Like they're very similar with what happened. Think about it.
Car was abandoned.
Both of them had attended a social event, then went missing. Cars was abandoned, and they were missing for a time before their bodies were found.
Well, Gina's body was never found.
Never found, but she'd still been missing for a while.
And if this farmer wasn't doing his due diligence of keeping his farm clean,
he probably would have never
found her.
Honestly, now I'm wondering if Stephen did kill Vicky, did he also dump Gina's body in a cornfield and that farmer just didn't notice?
Well, they did say that a farmer saw him on his land cutting up something, and he just told him that he was cutting up bait to go fishing.
So that was probably actually Gina.
Huh? Could have been.
He was actually only in Ohio for 35 days before he was arrested. So he moves there She goes missing 5 days later. Roughly a month, roughly 30 days later, they discover her body, and then Steven's arrested. So is it possible someone told Steven the cops were on the way and he quickly dumped her body to be safe?
I would go with no.
Or do you think he killed her and was driving back up to Columbus? Because he would have had to go through from Circleville to Columbus. He would have had to go through Madison County.
He probably followed her home from the event, killed her, and yeah, he dumps the body miles away. So he figured he drove through all these cornfields. He has more than enough time to dump the body before he gets back.
And then a random fun fact about Steven is that in May of 2024, so 2 years ago, Steven, who was 72 at the time, put in for parole and was denied.
Whoop, whoop. Good.
Fuck you, Steven. So that's suspect number 1. Suspect number 2. A known serial killer was in the area around the time of her disappearance. And the Circleville chief of police, Chapman, believes that this serial killer's way of doing things kind of fits the crime, but there just isn't any evidence to tie the killer to the crime. He just thinks similar ways of killing, similar time, he was in the area.
Okay.
So his name was Dr. No. That's what they called him.
Okay.
He was a serial killer that killed over 10 girls in Ohio between 1982 and 1990 that they know of.
What?
And he was a truck driver.
Huh?
Yeah.
How do I not know this one?
And so the question is, could Koch have been his first? Because sometimes killers will kill once, give it time to see if they can get away with it, and then they get brave.
Yeah.
Though I will say, in 2025, they actually figured out who he was.
Really?
His name was Samuel Legge III. So he was stalking Interstate 71, and he mainly went after prostitutes. So I have no doubt that she was wearing maybe more risque clothing for a concert, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly fine. But what if he thought she was a prostitute? And one of his first victims that he was noted for, she was discovered by a farmer and fully dressed. So the first victim had not been raped, but she had been beaten and she had been strangled to death. Remember, they said they couldn't pinpoint what it was, but Vicky suffered trauma.
Yeah.
So if he beat her to death, that would cause trauma, but they wouldn't really be able to put 2 and 2 together. They wouldn't be able to say she was beaten because they wouldn't know for sure.
Okay.
One of Dr. No's other victims was found along Interstate 71. She had been severely beaten in the head with a fractured skull. So that's like the common denominator is none of these girls are really raped, but they're beat to death.
Okay.
And usually at least in their clothing.
So he's like an angry, aggressive killer.
Yes.
Not a sexual predator killer.
It makes sense. She wasn't raped. They know that for sure. But she did suffer severe trauma.
We'll have to look into his case more.
So when I was looking into this, Chapman didn't really point out which serial killer he thought it was, just that it was one of them. There were only 2 active serial killers. The other one doesn't make as much sense. So I'm like 90% confident he was talking about Dr. No. The next one, which was another killer in the area, a more famous killer than Dr. No's, is the I-70 Strangler. For those of you who don't know who the I-70 Strangler is, without going into too much detail, basically, he was a known truck driver that hunted men on I-70, and he would obviously strangle them to death. So he was actively killing in the 1980s. And so I'm almost wondering if he was getting started, he killed a man and was dumping the body, and Vicky saw it. And he panicked and just killed her real quick. Didn't do anything to her because he was more into men than women, but killed her and then threw her body into a field.
But was she killed in the 80s? Yeah, she was killed in the 80s.
Yeah, that's why I said he was active.
Maybe. You shush.
So, yeah, he murdered at least 12 men and boys between 1980 and 1991. And then dumped them on I-70. So now that makes me wonder, like I said, did Vicky see something? He was like, oh shit, killed her real quick, but didn't do anything because she was a woman, and then just dumped her body real quick and then continued doing his thing.
That's possible.
So those are the big three. Personally, I almost think it's Dr. No.
It sounds more of Dr. No.
I don't think it's Steven. Between her going missing and then him getting arrested, I don't know. It could have potentially. A part of me somehow thinks that this was more of a Dr. No thing and that he kind of got started with Vicky rather than just some random Steven guy.
Or Steven thought he got away with it in Virginia.
And then tried again.
And tried again after he moved.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I think it's a toss-up between Dr. No and Steven. I could see it being both equally.
One or the other two.
Especially with like serial killers in general, they'll find certain bodies and be like, okay, we know you killed them. Is this all? And they'll be like, no, but you won't find the rest. And I am confident most serial killers have killed more than they've been charged for.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I could easily see him, like he got caught with his first one and he was just like, oh, yep, that was my first one I ever killed.
Mm-hmm. They want to keep it. It's like a magical keepsake, I guess, for them.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it that way, but
I think the I-70 Strangler has less of a chance, but there's always the possibility. Now, out of all of this, I will say is that personally, I do not think it was someone from Circleville.
Why?
Circleville's too small.
So?
I still think someone would have gotten caught. And the fact that she was found in Madison County.
We've seen or heard of people kill someone, drive miles, hours, states away to dump bodies before. It's not far-fetched.
Not far-fetched, but I mean, I don't think it was somebody who was like living actively from Circleville. But like you said, anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
So I did learn that they still have physical evidence that they're planning on re-examining. They haven't re-examined everything, but they do have plans to re-examine it, and I believe that includes the car. They're hoping they can redo the entire car and hopefully find DNA and then retest it.
Do they have the car like locked up in a freezer or something?
I believe they're still looking for the car. They're
What?
actively looking for her car.
I thought they found her car.
No, like over the years, they had it in their impound and then they eventually released it. They
So
didn't keep the car as piece of evidence all these years.
So they sold the car at an auction.
Or the family had it. The family came and collected her car, and then the family eventually sold it. I mean, they found her body.
We would like the car back now so we could check for DNA, even though it's been like 50 plus years.
You know what? Even if there was no DNA, if this was someone in my family and the police were like, hey, we want to recheck this, I'd be like, here's who I sold it to. Like, you're still trying, go ahead and try.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but it's the thought of it where the police come back, hey, you know that car?
I don't think they actively went and told the
We'd
family,
like it
hey, we need the
back.
car back. From what I gathered, Chapman is on his own privately trying to figure out who has the car without trying to get the family too involved.
Okay.
On a side note, but a good note to end this episode on, just because I find it like, aw, is that Chapman, the chief of police, has a photo of Vicky in his office, and he states he will not remove it until they find her killer.
That's his one case.
It's the only unsolved case.
Circleville's so small.
This is literally their only like mystery case.
And it's huge.
It is.
It's not who stole the pumpkin.
It's who fucking killed our favorite teacher.
Yeah.
And took her away from our babies. It's Ohio. We don't have the best education. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, and that is the story of Vicky Kosh.
Oh my God. You got Ohio coming after you now. I will say, the schools back there are doing a better job than the schools here. So we'll just go with that. As a reminder, we do have social medias up and running. We have Facebook, Instagram, and now we have X, Twitter. The reason why I pronounce the X is because I mess that thing up every single time. We are streaming on Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. If you could rate our episodes and give us a rate on our Facebook pages, that would be amazing. And it would really help us out. If you guys want us to tell anything or have us read a story of yours, please send us a message on Facebook or Instagram or email us at deadandwrongpodcast@gmail.com.
And before, I also forgot to add, just in our little spiel, we're also streaming on Apple. I forgot about that. I just forgot to add it in.
Did you get that, people? We're on Apple. I don't know what it is, but you might. Hey.
Apple Podcasts, like Apple Music. for iPhone.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
We're also streaming on Banana.
That's a thing. Anyways,
No, being
join us next
sarcastic.
Sunday for your regularly scheduled episode filled with all things dead.